the year-end party is over. I'm so drunk I can't walk, so I'm staying at a colleague's place tonight. I'll head back in the morning tomorrow. Can you make sure to clean the house up so that it's spotless before I'm home tomorrow?
All right, understood. Just try not to cause too much trouble, okay? We've received enough complaints now, and I can't take any more regarding you.
I know. By the way, I was talking to my boss today about something. It's about my parents.
Your mom and dad? What did he say?
Well, it's not like he said anything bad, but a few years ago the company went bankrupt and Dad became bedridden, right? And Mom's been taking care of him. He said, it must be tough for your mom.
Yeah, that's true. Your mom is already over 70, so it's basically elderly care for elderly people. Even though a home care nurse comes, I bet it's still really tough on her.
Right, you think so too, don't you? She's pushing herself hard, poor Mom. At this rate, Mom might even collapse too. I'm really worried thinking about it.
Yeah, I can see why you'd be worried.
So, I was thinking about something. Since it's tough on Mom, do you think you could take over the caregiving for a while?
Huh? What do you mean, take over?
I mean, go to my parents' house. I want you to take care of Dad instead of Mom. Mom can't keep doing this forever. And if you go, Mom could have a bit of a break and we'd all feel better about it, right?
No, wait a second. You're just saying that so casually, but that's impossible. It takes 5 hours by plane to get to your parents' house. That's not a distance you can travel frequently. And even if we decide you'll go a few times a month, getting involved halfway might just end up being more of a hassle.
You don't even have to commute from here. Just move over there.
Huh?
If you don't want to get involved halfway, then it'd be better to move and take over the caregiving full time, right? I'm fine with living alone for work.
Living alone? Are you saying I should go live at your parents' house while you stay here?
Wow, I have work here, and I think it would be best if you go. Yeah, that sounds like the best option. If you stay at my parents' house, then we won't have to rush over if something happens.
But I have work too.
It's just part-time, right? Why don't you quit?
Quit? Just because it's part-time doesn't mean I can quit easily. It's tough with the staff shortage.
But it's not like you can't quit. You could totally do it. Don't worry, it'll be fine.
Don't say it like it's nothing. What about the housework once I go to your parents? Dan, you've never made a proper meal before. And what about the kids? Do you think you can take care of both of them on your own?
Oh, right. You could just bring them with you, can't you? It's a relaxing place, and the kids will probably enjoy it. I remember when we brought them to my parents' house last time. They had fun, didn't they?
It was just a 2-night stay during summer vacation. If we're talking about moving there, that's a completely different story. There's no hospital, no middle or elementary school nearby, and no trains.
How are you going to raise 2 kids there and care for your dad, too, all by yourself?
Well, Mom can help out. If you go to the next city, there are hospitals and schools, and there's a car at my parents' house, so it'll be fine. Dad will get better seeing his grandkids every day, too. It's all good, right?
That's not realistic, I'm telling you. The kids are in 6th and 5th grades. They're working hard for high school entrance exams. You want to uproot them just because you had some idea? They have lots of friends here, and they're really motivated to go to the same middle school as their friends. You know that, right?
But I've been thinking for a while now. Is there really any point in making elementary school kids take entrance exams? You're pushing them too hard with the exams. I think they're stressed. Maybe they'll feel better if we move to the countryside and get rid of some of that stress.
Stress relief? Yeah, but they'd be more stressed out if they can't go to the school they want and everything changes suddenly. The whole point of the entrance exams is what the kids want. They want to play soccer without having to take high school exams. And that's something you should let them do without interfering.
But it's impossible for me to live alone with the kids. I can't do any of the housework, and I don't know anything about school stuff. So don't you think it's only fair if you go with them?
That's why I'm saying I won't go. If your parents come here, that'd be another story.
Moving your bedridden father around sounds tough. That's not realistic either, is it? Do you think your mom and dad can fly 5 hours?
No way, right? It'd be much easier if you went.
It's not about what's easy or not. Taking the kids and going all the way to the countryside just to take care of your dad? That's just crazy.
It'll be fine. Mom knows all about the paperwork and stuff. If we just go, we'll figure it out somehow.
In the end, you're just leaving everything to your mom and me. You say you want to ease your mom's burden, but you're just adding to it. You want to stay here, enjoy yourself, and pile all the work on me and your mom and the kids. That's unbelievable.
Why are you complaining so much? What is it? Do you not want to take care of my parents? You're just talking about how difficult it is, but is that all?
That's not it. I've thought about living with your parents if it ever gets too hard for them, but I've never considered just me and the kids moving there. It would be a burden on them, and I've said it's impossible for us to go now. Besides, I don't understand how you're just completely avoiding responsibility for your parents.
I'm not avoiding responsibility. I'm just working hard here, and I expect you to take care of the caregiving. It's just a matter of dividing the roles.
That's your decision to make the roles based on your own convenience. What about my convenience? What do you think our lives are?
Once you get married, you're supposed to compromise with your partner. If things don't go exactly as planned, you can't get angry. Besides, childcare and caregiving are the wife's job, right?
I am speechless. Forget it. Seems like it's pointless to talk to you. Please make sure you send the child support.
Oh, so you finally understand. Don't worry, I'll send the money. We should act quickly. Let's move next weekend. Pack up your stuff and the kids' stuff. Let's start preparing. Good night.
You really only think about what's convenient for you, you idiot.
Hey, where are you right now? When I got back home, all the things I had packed were completely gone. Everything was missing. Did you seriously head to your parents' house already? We had agreed to move next weekend, didn't we? You know, we had a plan in place. I wanted to see you off. I even planned to give you a proper farewell, but now I'm seeing you've jumped ahead of everything. You should have waited. This is a bit too hasty, don't you think?
I'm already here at my parents' house. The kids are with me as well.
What? You're already there? Wait, I haven't even told Mom that you and the kids were coming to stay. You must have really surprised her, huh? It must have been such a shock. How did it go? Is she happy to see you? Did she take it well?
I honestly don't understand what you're talking about. We haven't gone to your parents' house. We are at my parents' house right now. The kids and I have settled in here.
Huh? Why are you at your parents' house? Oh, I get it. You're visiting them since we won't be able to meet for a while? Is that why you came all the way here? For a little break before we actually move?
That's not it. I've moved in with my parents, and I'm here because I'm getting ready for a divorce. It's happening now.
Wait, what? Divorce? What do you mean divorce? Are you serious? Are you out of your mind? Why are you suddenly saying something like that? After everything, this is where we're ending up?
I can't do this anymore. I am done. I've had enough of trying to make this work. You keep trying to sacrifice my happiness and my children's future for the sake of just your parents. You never listen to what anyone else has to say, and you keep pushing your opinions like they are the only ones that matter, as if that's how it should be. It makes me sick to my stomach. You're even trying to ruin the kids' exams, which is so low, I can't even believe it. If you keep on like this, I'll have no choice but to get a divorce. I have reached the breaking point.
Wait, no, hold on a second. What are you even talking about? All I asked was for you to help my mother. Don't you think my parents are in need? Don't you feel bad for them at all? Why are you so quick to turn your back on them? What's wrong with helping out a little bit?
You're mixing things up. I do feel bad for your parents, of course I do, but that's not the issue here. I am not responsible for fixing things for them, and neither is the rest of the family. This is your responsibility. They are your parents. Why am I the one being asked to take on all of this? And now you're going to rob the kids of their dreams for the sake of your parents' situation. Do you really think that's okay? As a parent, I have to ask, what kind of person does that? What kind of parent would take away their own kid's future like that?
So what? You're telling me that you're just going to abandon my parents for the sake of your children's dreams? They're so young! Why do they even need to worry about middle school entrance exams? I never had to go through that pressure, and none of my classmates had to deal with this either. This is all overblown.
That's not the point. The problem is that you didn't try to find a balanced solution. You could have looked into different options, but instead you chose to put all the responsibility and the burden on me and the kids while ignoring your own family's needs. You never even considered finding a better facility for your mother. You didn't think to look into support programs or other solutions. You just assumed I'd take care of everything for you. Honestly, I am just so disappointed. The kids were upset when I told them about all of this. They started crying, and it broke my heart. They don't want to leave their friends behind. They want to focus on their studies and take the entrance exams. You have to understand, things are different now. The world is different from when you and I were their age.
But my mom is in such a bad situation. She needs help. Don't you get it? She'll be devastated if she finds out you've completely shut her out like this. Are you really gonna turn your back on her like this? Taking care of your in-laws is your duty as my wife. That's the right thing to do.
Enough already. This whole situation is just an excuse for you to manipulate me and treat me like a tool that's supposed to serve your needs. I am not here to be your pawn, and I am certainly not here to be used for your convenience. If you think the kids are going to pick up on all this, you're wrong. If they see how you're acting, it is going to influence them negatively. They'll learn to be selfish, and that is the last thing I want for them. I've made up my mind. I am done. The divorce is going to happen. This isn't going to work anymore.
Why? Why are you doing this? Why can't you just listen to me for once? Do you really think that you can raise the kids alone, just by yourself? You're a part-time worker. You can't possibly handle everything on your own. How are you going to pay for their exams and all the other expenses? You're the one who's going to ruin their future, and you're not even seeing it.
You promised me child support, right? You promised that we'd figure it out. I am going to find a job, and my parents will help me. I'm going to make it work. It's going to be okay. So stop acting like everything's falling apart. It's not that big of a deal. I'll handle it.
Fine. Then let's try to figure out a way for your parents to come here. I know it's gonna be a bit tough, but it's probably the best thing for everyone involved. I'll talk to Mom about it, see if we can come up with a plan. Just please try to calm down a little. Can we please just talk and work this out?
Don't you understand? This isn't about your parents. That was just a trigger. What I'm telling you is that I don't trust you anymore. I don't feel comfortable anymore, and I can't keep living like this. I've made my decision. I am done. I'm going to have a lawyer handle everything from now on. I don't want to talk to you directly anymore. You'll hear everything from them. I'll send you the lawyer's contact details, and you can talk to them directly.
What? You're really going to do this? You're gonna go behind my back and make decisions without even talking to me? No, wait, this isn't right. You can't just cut me off like that. I don't want a lawyer involved. Please, just think about it for a minute. We can still figure this out. We're a family. We can find a way to make this work. Just come back. Let's sit down and talk one last time.
I told you no, I'm not coming back. The kids are fine here with my parents. They can concentrate on their studies without the distraction. We're not going back to your house, not now and not ever. This isn't going to work, and I'm done wasting time. I'm saying goodbye.
Wait, hold on. Please, just don't go through with the divorce. Please, give me one more chance. Let's talk without lawyers. We can sort this out ourselves. I'll do anything. Kara, please. Don't ignore me! Please! I'm begging you!
After that, Dan came to my family home, desperately trying to take me and the children back, but he was met with a furious confrontation from my parents. They shouted at him so loudly that he had no choice but to leave in a dejected manner, his head hung low. It was as though he had been completely defeated. At first I could see the stubbornness in his eyes. He wasn't ready to accept the reality of the situation, and his determination to control everything was evident. But my parents' harsh words and their no-nonsense attitude seemed to break him down. It wasn't just the argument at my parents' house that caused things to spiral out of control. During one of our later discussions, which was supposed to be calm and mediated with our lawyer, Dan completely lost his composure. His temper, which had always been unpredictable, flared up in an instant. He began yelling at the lawyer, something I never expected, and before anyone could intervene, he physically lunged toward them. The scene was chaos, people shouting, trying to pull him off, and the lawyer was clearly shaken. It didn't take long before the police arrived at the scene. Dan was arrested for his outburst and aggressive behavior, and they took him away, handcuffed. It was a surreal moment for me, one that I never imagined would unfold in this way. Looking back at it now, I can't even recognize the man I once married. He wasn't the person I fell in love with, nor was he the person I thought I knew. This man who once held such promise, the man who seemed to be thoughtful and kind-hearted, had completely unraveled. His true nature came out at the worst possible time, and the emotional and physiological toll it took on me was immense. I didn't want to believe it at first, but his actions left me with no choice but to accept that our relationship was beyond repair. After everything had calmed down, I realized that the best thing for me and the children was to go our separate ways. And so after a long and painful period of legal proceedings and strained discussions, we ended up divorcing. It was final, and I never saw him again. There was no reconciliation, no meeting in person to discuss things one last time. We just went our separate ways, no closure, just a bitter finality. For me, it felt like a weight had been lifted off my shoulders, but for him, I'm sure it was a completely different story. In all honesty, the hardest part of all of this wasn't the conflict with Dan. It wasn't even the tense legal battles or the emotional toll of dealing with everything on my own. The hardest part was what happened when I spoke to Dan's mother. She had always been kind to me, always supportive, and it pained me to see her in such a state. When I explained to her what had happened, she broke down in tears. She cried harder than I had ever seen her cry before, as though she had lost everything. She seemed so helpless, and I felt an overwhelming sense of guilt and sadness. Not for me, but for her. It was as if the divorce had taken something from her too, something that she couldn't control or stop. I never blamed her, not for a single moment. She was a kind woman, and she didn't deserve to be dragged into the mess her son had caused. But seeing her in that state made me realize just how much damage had been done, not only to me, but to the people around us. The ripples of the divorce reached further than I had anticipated. It wasn't just me and Dan who were affected. It extended to our families, friends, and even acquaintances. People who had no part in the conflict were caught in the middle, and it made me feel even more conflicted. I tried my best to console her during that moment, even though I was hurting myself. I told her that none of this was her fault, and that I didn't blame her, and that I didn't want her to feel guilty. I didn't want her to think that she had failed as a mother, but it didn't seem to comfort her. She kept crying, her face contorted with pain, as if she couldn't understand why things had ended the way they did. She kept asking me what went wrong, what happened to her son, and as much as I wanted to explain it to her, I didn't have the words. How could I explain to a mother that her son had changed in ways that I didn't recognize? How could I tell her that I had done everything I could to salvage the relationship, but that nothing worked? I wanted to tell her that Dan's behavior wasn't her fault, but in some ways, I felt like the fault was not just his, but all of ours. We had all contributed to the breakdown of our relationship in one way or another. I had stayed for longer than I should have, trying to hold on to something that wasn't there anymore. Dan had tried to force a reality that wasn't true, trying to control the situation and refusing to see the truth. And she, Dan's mother, had been in the middle, torn between supporting her son and trying to make sense of what was happening. I knew that she loved him and that she wanted the best for him, but sometimes love isn't enough. As I continued to speak with her, I tried to reassure her that she would get through this, that she still had people who cared about her and that she could move on from the pain too, but I could tell that the situation was weighing heavily on her. The idea that her son had turned out this way, that his actions had pushed us to this point, was too much for her to bear. I could see the sadness in her eyes, the heartbreak of a mother who felt like she had lost her child. Despite all of this, I knew that I had to move on for the sake of my own peace and the well-being of my children. I couldn't let myself get caught up in the pain of others, no matter how much I wanted to help or fix things. The relationship with Dan's family wasn't my responsibility. I had to focus on what was best for me and the children. And as much as I cared for his mother, I had to accept that the situation was out of my control. Over time, things began to settle. I continued to keep in touch with Dan's family, especially his mother, though the relationship was never quite the same. I would call her from time to time, especially when I felt like she needed someone to talk to. We would have video calls occasionally just to catch up and make sure everything was okay. I didn't want to cut ties with her completely because I knew that she was a kind woman who had been caught in a difficult situation. We both understood that things would never go back to how they were, but we could still maintain some form of communication. As for Dan, I never saw him again. I heard through mutual acquaintances that he had been struggling to deal with everything that had happened, but I couldn't find it in myself to feel sorry for him. The man I once knew was gone, and all that was left was someone who had caused so much damage that it was impossible to repair. He would have to deal with the consequences of his actions on his own, and I was no longer part of that equation. In the end, life went on. I found my own path, and though the scars of the past would always be there, I knew that I had done what I needed to do. And as for Dan's family, I still cared for them. But I learned that sometimes you have to let go of things, no matter how painful. Thank you for watching and listening. We hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Also, feel free to leave a comment about what you thought of the story. We look forward to seeing you at the next story.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and hit the like button. See you next time.